So Colin, after we got to the playoffs last year, the hopes were high for perhaps a tilt at promotion this time. A 14th place finish is a bit disappointing. Where do you think it went wrong?
Well, from my time in charge, I actually believe the Torquay second leg at home was pivotal, because I don't think we'd lost many games going up to that, and we were going forward all the time. And I just seem to think that defeat kicked one of the two players in the teeth, and I just think that we seem to lose momentum then.
When you've got nothing to play for, obviously as we had quite a lot of dead games in the season, it must be quite hard to keep going.
It was. I mean, I can't remember how long it were, but we seemed to be playing Tuesday first team, Wednesday reserves, Saturday first team, and sometimes travelling on a Friday. They did seem to become very quickly. The games came on all the time, and some of the travelling, I think, got to the players in the end. I think we got one or two players that have been playing 50, 55 games this season. So I'm not making an excuse for them. It's something that we've got to address this time, and we've talked about it today in the debrief. That, you know, they've got an out-of-season programme. They've got to go and do that and be ready for the 2nd of July.
Now, one disappointing part of the season has been the fact we've conceded so many goals. I think it's 74 in the league, and if you look on paper, we've got some really quality defensive players. So how do you explain that?
What a very good question, Phil. I think it'd be nice to know there'd be one or two of them from set pieces as well. We've not been very good. We've tried different ways of counteracting that, but maybe the one way that I've got to do now is maybe bring one or two different faces in to hopefully change that.
Now, you haven't actually released any of those key defenders, and so how will it, obviously if you're dealing with the same players more or less, obviously just bring a couple of people in, is that a training ground thing to try and change that if you've got the same players? Well,
we've got the same defenders. There may well be the odd defender coming in, certainly be a new goalkeeper coming in. We've got to work harder at stopping crosses. That's a training ground thing, and we've got to be more mentally tough in defending. Again, that's something we've talked about today. I'm not sure. I think it could be a mental thing more than anything else. You know, there have been some games where we defended really well, and some games where we defended really poorly. But early on in my tenure, when we would keep giving goals away, we always just seemed to either score one more than the other team, and that was the other thing that stopped. But we certainly got to work on defending this year.
And are you happy with the players you've got up front?
Well, I think we've had 5 players in double figures. I know one's Martin and one's Nicky Rowe, Sodge, Faz and Richard Brodie. But there will be an addition coming up there. And obviously at the moment, Craig Farrell's in contractual discussions.
Now, one nasty part of being a football manager, I suppose, is at the end of the season when you have to sit down with people you've worked with and say, sorry, we're not renewing your contract. That must be quite unpleasant. And also thinking about Manny Panther, who after 3 years was a great servant for the club, and having to tell him that he won't be getting a new contract must be pretty tough.
That was a strange one, that one. Let's leave that one to the last one. I've done a lot of it before. We're doing youth players, so I'm sort of used to disappointments. I think the hardest one was Lloydie, because there was a time through the season where I actually quite thought about keeping Lloydie on, but then came the emergence of Andy McWilliams, so that was a hard one. Manny was strange, because in January we'd offered him a new contract and he turned us down flat, wanted to keep his options open. Now, I don't know what happened from then on till now, but his form dipped. He picked up injuries. And I'm not sure whether, I can't say whether he'd been tapped up by anybody else, but he was obviously free to talk to anybody because he was on a Bosman rule. But I think that when I shook his hand and he said thanks for everything, there was no disappointment in his face. He left on goodwill, and I just wish him all the best for the future.
You've gone on record, you want to find perhaps 4 to 8 new faces. Have you identified any targets?
I have. You're going to ask me who, and I'm not going to tell you. But you don't have to be a rocket scientist to say that we need a new goalkeeper. We probably need 2 central midfield players. We probably need 1 or 2 strikers, and hopefully a defender. So 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. We'll have to wait and see, depending on how much it costs me. But you know, I've been on the phone all day today, all day yesterday. It's going to be the hardest job is attracting players to York City, but you know, it's one I'm looking forward to doing, and when I finish talking to you, I'll be doing it again.
One exciting aspect of the end of the season has been the emergence of players, as you mentioned, Andy McWilliams, but Liam Shepherd, Adam Boyes and Jimmy Beadle. Can we expect to see them more often next season?
Well, Andy McWilliams has started 4 games and done really well. So I think he'll now come into the fringe first team squad, as will Shep. Adam Boyes could be a little jewel that we've got. We played Sheffield Wednesday in the reserves last week, and he scored an absolute wonder goal, and he's one that everybody's talking about at the moment, so he may well come into the equation. Jimmy, you know, 5 weeks ago Jimmy was a definite not keeping him, but from his performances over the last 4 games, I think he deserves another chance. He's a young lad, he's keen, he wants to learn, as do the other 3. But I think, you know, the youth policy that we've got at the moment is delivering, and we've got to make sure that keeps happening.
So moving away from the team, at this time of year, every football club in the land is asking their supporters to reinvest and get a new season ticket. And obviously after the disappointment of this year, there might be some City supporters who might be a bit doubtful as to whether they want to do that. What message would you have to them to kind of allay those doubts and fears?
Well, from my point of view, I've got to say that I'm going to put my team on the pitch. I'm going to bring my players, and I think that the quality of players that I'm bringing, because I'm not bringing many, the quality hopefully is going to be higher. Well, it will be higher. And I want, you know, York City fans to come and watch these players pre-season and just see where we're at. Because I believe with the nucleus of the team that we've kept and the 4, 5, 6 players that we're going to bring in, I think we're going to have a tilt at getting promotion next year.
And finally, it's been a tough season for the players and yourself with the travelling and also the tinkering of fixtures, and also for the supporters it's been an absolute nightmare. How much does it mean to yourself and to the players and to the club in general to turn out at places like Torquay and Salisbury, especially at the end when the fixtures didn't really mean much, to see 120, 150 people there still following you?
Oh no, the support, especially away from home, I think has absolutely been mind-blowing. I was looking at some of the old videos from this year, and I happened to see Droylsden away, so I put that one on, and the support behind the goal that day was absolutely unbelievable, and it sort of puts the hairs on your back of your neck standing up. The fans away have been absolutely outstanding. Everywhere we've been, you know, take Crawley out of the equation, and even Saturday to a certain extent, although I thought we didn't create some good chances to score. But again, going back to the supporters, they've been absolutely outstanding. They sing more, they probably make more noise away from home than we do at home. But even at home, over the last 3 or 4 games, they've really tried to get behind us, and I thank them for that, and hopefully they come back again.
Well, let's hope they do, and have a great summer, and thanks for talking to us.
Cheers, Phil.